Hello everyone, Sanju here with Let's Make Astral Collision, and what I've done today is I've decided to try something a little bit different. For one thing, I've noticed that a lot of the previous episodes, quite frankly, have a lot of me, trying to pick tile icons or sitting around trying to do math or be creative and things like that. So what I've done, and I'd love feedback on this model, this style, is I've gone ahead and done my work session on the game, and I'm going to record a review of what I've done. Let me know what you think of this this difference, this change. It should overall result in shorter episodes that are a little bit more tight, a little bit more specific to what I've done, what my focus is. I'll still discuss some of my design decisions and all that sort of stuff as well. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump in, starting with the map. So for those of you who have been keeping track, the map looks a little bit different. There is now, actually, if I zoom out one more level, okay, here. There's now a bunch of shallower water here. So I've filled this area in with shallow water. I've been thinking some about the pacing of the game and sort of the way that I want the player to get through the game and move through it. And what I've kind of decided is that I want the player to start over here on this continent, but I want the natural extension to go over here next. Now, technically, you are able to take your boat all the way around. Like, I'm going to give you the boat over here. It's currently spawning right over here. But I'm going to give you the boat, like, over on this side of the map. I'm not quite sure where on it, but that's going to encourage you to move this direction as well. This is all the way on the other side of the map, or on the other side of the island, I should say. And while you can sail around there, going up and around or down and around, that's going to take a long time. So I want you to go this way. I want you to go down past this thing. I'll need to think about how I want this to interact with stuff. This is going to be a harder area, so I might want to kind of expand the ocean some here. But you can stop off here and then come over here. So I'm going to think some about how I do some of that pacing. I do want to emphasize, hey, go over here first, and then maybe over here to here, these areas. But things like this place, this place, this place, and this place are going to be much later game areas. So based upon the transportation I'm giving you, I want to encourage you to go specific directions and not other directions. So that's one of the first things that I did was that, and it's something that I want to think about. And then I've also gone ahead and filled in all of these. So you can see all of the green skills now are things. Over here I added a thing to count them, which is using the count if. So it's count things in this range if the cell has this value in it. Because I needed to check to see if I had all the skills. Turns out I did not have all of the skills I'd already made assigned in triplets, and as the math was turning out weird. So I've gone through and I've filled in all of these skills. I figured out who gets what. Some of the choices I'm maybe a little less satisfied on. For example, retreating attack over here on the whammo. But I didn't realize that until late, and I don't want to shift stuff around too much on other characters because I like where they're at. So anyway, it's a whole mess. But anyway, I've gone through and I've put in all of those skills, all of those common skills. That's the main thing that I've done today is put in all those common skills. So let's go ahead and go over these common skills that I've added. So they're over here in skills. Okay. So just as a review, we've already done Fireball, like all of the magic stuff. We got through all of the magic stuff up to Ancient Power. So Sleeper Hold is a skill that I've already added. It does a little bit of damage that also inflicts sleep. Blitz is attacking all enemies. Opening Strike is attacking and gains TP. Guarding Strike attacks while guarding, so you'll take less damage. But the attack is a little bit weaker. Retreating attack performs a normal attack, but also causes you to dodge. Careful Blow is an MP attack, and the reason for that, as opposed to like this, right, which takes a little bit of MP and a little bit of TP. Or most of these attacks are going to take TP, but this one takes MP because it's designed to be an unmissing attack. It has the certain hit property, which means it's always going to hit. It gets through evasion and guarding and your low accuracy. It ignores accuracy checks, and it hits. This attack is made specifically to get through enemies that are doing a lot of dodging, that have high evasion. So it does normal attack, but has slightly higher crit rate and a much higher chance to add states if your attacks have states. So that's stuff that I'd kind of done already, as I'd made up through here. So I've added Deft Strike, which is very similar to Power Attack. These are basically, and I don't know, these TP costs are all temporary sort of things, but this is a Dex bonus attack that is slightly more likely to inflict whatever conditions your weapon may be able to inflict, and Power Attack is a Strength attack that is slightly more likely to land a critical hit, and it's got 10% more chance to land a critical hit. Then there's Mystic Strike. This one adds damage based upon your maximum MP. It also costs MP to use, but unlike most attacks, which have the physical attack property, Mystic Strike is a magical attack. This means that it ignores counterattack and evasion, but does care about magical evasion and magical reflection. So this is given to a few specific characters that are a little bit more magic-y. For example, the War Mage gets Mystic Strike very early on. The Ninja gets Mystic Strike. And I believe the Whammo gets it as well. Just to have a little bit of variety over there. Then there's Throat Chop, which I like. It's a strength attack that inflicts silence. It is not a weapon attack, by the way. It doesn't care about your weapon stats or anything. It's flavored as like taking your hand and smacking your opponent in the throat. Then there's Chakra Strike, which does MP damage based on your dexterity, and then paralyzes the enemy, which makes all of their attacks cost way more MP. So this is really good for potentially debilitating enemies in a slightly different way. The fact that it's MP damage, I think, really fits the name of the skill as well, so I was really happy about that. And that's also given to like more dexterous types of characters. So I believe the Ninja gets Chakra Strike, has to, right? The Ranger gets it, and Special Forces... No. Special Forces gets Throat Chop, which is also a little bit more that way. Is it the... Whatever. It doesn't matter. There's one other character that gets Chakra Strike, and I don't remember which one it is. But perhaps you've been able to see it on this screen, despite my complete lack of visual awareness. Okay. So moving along. There's Mighty Blow, which is just supposed to be a high TP cost attack. It just does 4 times damage, and is like way more likely to land a critical hit. It is slightly more likely to inflict conditions as well. This probably doesn't matter a whole lot, but it might come up some. There's going to be plenty of weapons that have chances to inflict conditions, so these sorts of effects are useful. And then this brings us to the non-attack martial skills. So Hone Weapon, Ki, Battle Focus, and Dodge I'd already made. So Hone Weapon adds a state that increases your weapon damage by 50%. Oh, dramatic music. Kenai adds a state that gives you a higher critical rate and causes you to gain MP and TP, I want to say. Yeah, whenever you land a critical hit. Battle Focus increases your attack and defense by 7 stages, or by 1 stage for 7 turns. And then Dodge gives you a state that dramatically increases your evasion. It does cost a little bit of TP to use, incidentally. Okay, so then there's Deep Breath, which is a new skill. So this skill causes you to gain health equal to your wind stat plus 10 times your maximum TP. Then it also removes Rage, Confusion, Fascination, and Fear, which made a lot of sense to me. The idea here is that you're taking a moment in the battle to refocus yourself, and that's going to remove some of these more mentally oriented sounding conditions. So it's a flavor thing to have it cure those, as well as the fact that it's a breath, it's taking a breath. That's why I have Wind as a stat that contributes to this. It's mostly based on your max TP, but your Wind does help a bit. Keep in mind that max TP is likely going to be substantially less than maximum HP. So for a lot of characters that get this, this will heal, for a decent amount of their HP, but certainly is not going to be a full heal. Battle Cry increases attack, defense, HP, and MP for 3 turns for your entire party. I don't know how good this skill is. I'm going to have to definitely try this one out, actually. I think I'm going to increase its speed a little bit as well. And then there's Guardian. So this is a very special skill. You'll notice it has an incredibly high speed. It applies the Guardian state to you, which Guardian state has the guard flag, so you're guarding while you're in Guardian state. But it also has a substitute flag. What substitute does is it means that the character that has substitute flag on will take damage, will take the hit for characters with low HP. I forget exactly where the threshold is, but the idea is this attack, or this skill rather, is used by characters to allow them to defend other characters, which is a potentially extremely useful effect that let's see. It's especially notable that Whammo gets it fairly low level at level 17. Warrior gets it as well at a little bit higher level. And also Special Forces, I thought, was flavorful to get Guardian. So they are able to use that skill to help them defend their party and absorb hits and stuff like that. So that's a sort of skill that it feels like it's probably going to be more powerful than it seems, because it allows your other characters to be maybe a little bit more fragile and defend themselves with a character that is much better able to defend. That brings us to Commendation. So Commendation is a really interesting skill. I really like the design of this one. I think it's pretty interesting. So it affects all of your allies, and it grants a bronze, silver, or gold commendation. So you'll notice over here, it always grants a bronze commendation, and then there's a 40% chance it'll grant a silver commendation, and a 10% chance it'll grant a gold commendation. It also says it can only be used once per battle. So we're going to need to look at these states to understand what's going on here. So bronze commendation, it simply seals the skill commendation. So if you have that skill, you cannot use commendation when a commendation is on you. That's how it only works once per battle. Technically, if your character dies and therefore loses all states, the commendation state will go away and they can try it again. But a bronze commendation just grants you 5% regen for HP, MP, and TP, which is nice. It certainly helps, but it's not, like, amazing, right? Wow. I don't think you can hear it, but it's really raining outside. Anyway, so sealing that skill is the way that it only works once per battle. So you can only use it on one character per battle is sort of the idea. And then Silver Commendation grants you 7% regen to all of those stats. It still seals Commendation because how it works, but also gives you state resist to Bronze Commendation. This means that if you have Silver Commendation, you cannot have Bronze Commendation on you, so you'll lose Bronze Commendation. It also gives you an additional 100% to your hit rate, so what that means is it dramatically increases your accuracy. That means you're going to land more hits, but it also means your attacks are going to deal a lot more damage because of the way the damage formula stuff works with how I've set this up. My goodness, that rain is intense. And then there's Gold Commendation, which is fairly rare. It guarantees you 10% regen to all of the stats. It also seals Commendation, but it also makes you resist Bronze and Silver, so you cannot have those on it when you have Gold Commendation. So what's going to happen is, if you roll Bronze Commendation, only Bronze Commendation, you'll have Bronze Commendation. If you roll Bronze and Silver, you'll get both of them, but then you'll immediately lose Bronze Commendation because of Silver Commendation's resist. If you roll Gold Commendation, then you'll lose Bronze Commendation, and if you also roll Silver, you'll lose that as well, and you'll only have Gold Commendation. So that's how this works. I think it's a really cool idea. We'll see how it actually plays in practice. This is one of those skills that's going to be very inconsistent, and I could see it being really frustrating for some players because they'll be like, if I roll Gold Commendations on everybody, then this fight's really easy, like substantially easier. But if I don't, then it's like I'm really in a bad spot. But it lets people kind of play that way. And Bronze Commendation is always useful. It's relatively cheap to use, 12 MP. So it has the same effects as Silver Commendation, except its regens are stronger. But it also increases your recovery rate a bit, so that means healing. Any healing that you receive incoming, not regen, but standard healing skills or things like that, will be more effective. You'll get healed for more. And it also slightly reduces physical and magical damage you take. It's useful, it's good, it's just like, none of these are like, oh man, now I'm amazing. But I really like the design of this skill, because it's one of those things where it's like, it just makes your party a little bit better, but it does so in a really interesting way, in that sometimes it outperforms itself and stuff like that. And I like the fact that it was like, well, you've done it, now you're not doing it again. So I really like the design of this skill. I think it's pretty interesting. But again, I'll have to see how it actually plays. Then there's War Cry. So War Cry is a very simple, straightforward skill that just inflicts fear on enemies. Fear causes a lot of degen of MP and TP, as well as basically prevents crits. I don't know if this is overcosted or not, but this seems like it's a pretty straightforward, useful effect. And then there's Pump Up, which gains you TP equal to your fire stat and HP equal to 3 times your fire stat. This is actually only used by the Whammo and the Berserker. Because of the way the math worked out, I had 132 skills, I say in air quotes, because each one of these skills counts for 3. I'm putting on up to 3 characters. But 130 skill slots that needed to be filled. So rather than have one skill show up once, which would just make it a unique skill, I have 2 skills only show up twice instead of 3 times. So Pump Up is actually only used by the Berserker and the Whammo. So they're the characters that most need this effect because they are very TP focused. And so they can use this, for example, at the start of battle to build themselves up, to gain a bunch of TP, and to really be able to get going quite quickly. So that's kind of the idea of all these skills. And it just took time to create all of them, to allocate them to everybody. So as I'm looking over there at the recording time, is like, boy, you wouldn't know how long I'd worked on this based upon just the review. But it's always easier to kind of go over stuff than it is to make it the first time. So those are these skills. I'll be tweaking them over time. I also want to begin going through and making these unique skills, because these are where the characters' personalities are really going to come out and really going to shine. There's also, it's interesting, I've accidentally started some trends on certain characters. So if you look at the Special Forces, you'll note that they get, the Special Forces gets a skill at level 10, a skill at level 30, skill at level 40. I'm going to have it have a skill at the 10s, right? I guess not this last skill, but this will be at probably like 90, this will be at 80, this will be at 70, this will be at 60, this will probably be at 50. And this one will be at level 20. So it's just something that, like, some of these trends have shown up, and I've kind of liked them and want to lean into them a bit. Another one is the Berserker is getting certain skills back to back. So Battle Cry and War Cry are learned back to back, and Retreating Attack and Pump Up are learned back to back. So I might want to try to fit a few more back to back skills on the Berserker, just to add some character, some personality, some differences. I've also been thinking a little bit about some of the world structural stuff in terms of characters, what the worlds are like. So, for example, right now for Kendra, that world, I'm thinking that the villain is going to be the head of the Adventurer Guild, and what they're wanting to do is to try to stop you from taking out all of the monsters, because their livelihood is based on fighting monsters. Like, that's what they're about. And so it creates this perverse incentive where they want to make sure that there are monsters to fight, to need to kill. So I'm thinking I might do that for this one. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and wants to preserve monsters and... Oops. Let me try that again. Wants to preserve monsters and expand client pool. Like, that's this motivation, is, right? It's a very sort of dark side of capitalism to some extent. But the whole incentive for merging things is like, I want to be able to expand our market share. I'm kind of toying with the idea that it was somebody who was a friend of Sir Lionel who kind of became kind of monsterish and probably betrayed Sir Lionel. But I'm going to have to think about how that fits into things more broadly. But yeah, so I am slowly but surely kind of thinking through some of that stuff, thinking through some of the progression stuff. Now that I have all those common skills created as well, that gives me sort of a base to work from for creating enemies. That way I can give enemies some of those skills. So I'm likely going to want to start working on some of that. I've also been thinking some in terms of enemies, because there's certain sprites, right? And there's all these sprites for actors. And I'm thinking I might make them like higher ups in the Adventurer Guild. So I'm going to do some planning that way potentially as well. I can see them being characters that help you early on in the game and then become antagonists later, which I think is an interesting way to kind of run it, where it's like, oh, you're no longer being beneficial to us. We are going to try to take you down. So I think that about covers everything that I want to go over for now. There's definitely a lot more work to do, but I'm happy with figuring out a little bit more about world progression and especially for getting all those common skills in. So again, let me know what you think of this format, this change to where I'm reviewing what I've done rather than kind of showing you the individual steps of kind of doing stuff. Let me know what you think about the flow and all that sort of stuff. And hopefully this is something that is interesting to you. So thank you for watching, and until next time, take care and goodbye.